Okay, hello everyone and welcome to today's event. I'm Jason Gumpert from MSDynamicsWorld.com and I'm joined today by Ajmal of IBIS Inc., a Sonata software company. Ajmal is a Dynamics AX technical architect and he's here to talk about the journey customers are making to Dynamics AX 7, also known as the new Dynamics AX. As we get started, please know that you can add your feedback and ask questions today. You can use the Q&A block that you should see to the right of the main presentation window to ask your questions at any point. Ajmal will be making time at the end to take as many of those as we have time for. So without further delay, please allow me to welcome Ajmal to get things started.
Thanks, Jason. Hello all. Thank you and welcome you all to this session on planning your AX7 journey. So my name is Ajmal and I'm a technical architect and I head the Dynamics Center of Excellence at Sonata. So before we get started on the session topics, I'll just give a quick introduction to the session topics. So this is a level 200 session. In this session, we will look at the various aspects of AX7 which could impact your upgrade strategy and approach. We will start with discussing on key players who contribute on your journey to AX7. Then we will understand the new and deprecated features in AX7 which have an impact on your upgrade. Later we will discuss what are the alternates to some of these deprecated features. We will also look at the change skill set which are essential in AX7. Then we will explore the various migration scenarios and what are the key considerations you need to be aware during your upgrade. Finally, we will also explore some of the new capabilities which can be leveraged as part of your AX7 journey. So as part of your Dynamics AX7 journey, these are the 5 roles which contribute and are impacted with the new enhancements and changes in AX7. So the core roles are the IT admin, business users, developer, the VAR or the partner, and Microsoft. Let's see how these roles are impacted. Let's start with the IT admin role. So there has been significant changes in the deployment landscape of AX7. The current AX7 release is only a cloud-only release. Also, there has been changes in the client and server components, which impact your deployments and its coexistence within your current landscape. So business users are impacted because of the new changes in the UX, which has been enhanced for modern devices like tablets, etc. What this would mean is you would need to spend on enablement and training the business users. The next role we will discuss in depth is of a developer. The technology stack in AX7 has been changed significantly. The developer toolset has changed. So there are new programming patterns or paradigms supported. Prior to AX7, VAR or partner played a key role during the discovery phase, implementation, and operations. In AX7, the partner still continues to play a key role. However, some of the activities are now managed by Microsoft. In AX7, we see further that Microsoft plays a key role and all parties involved need to closely collaborate with Microsoft, be it promoting your code to production or provisioning your instances. Moving further, let's take a closer look at what's new in AX7, which could impact or which needs to be considered on your upgrade journey. First and foremost is the lifecycle services. So lifecycle services has been there since AX 2012, but it was not mandated. However, in AX7, it is a mandated collaboration workspace right through all the phases of your implementation. So the provisioning of your instances, the promotion of your code to production, applying of hotfixes is all now orchestrated through workflows enabled on LCS. To enable cloud operations in terms of monitoring and troubleshooting, etc., the toolsets in LCS has been enhanced. For example, you have the operational insights dashboard within LCS now. Then the next big changes are the changes to the platform stack itself. So in AX 2012 or prior release, you had a rich client for all primary client interactions apart from enterprise portal. So you had you had the rich client and you have enterprise portal to interact with AX. In AX7, there is a new UI client, which is a web-based client. So since it's a web-based client, it is accessible anytime, anywhere, with devices having different form factors. There has been several enhancements on the UI itself. So you have now workspaces which replace role centers to provide an overview of a business activity and to help understand the current status and performance of a business process. As compared to AX 2012 earlier version, which was primarily deployed on-premise or on cloud as a infrastructure as a service, as a IaaS, the current release of AX7 is available only on public cloud. Which means how this impacts is that as a customer or a partner, you will not have a direct RDP access into these machines where it is deployed. The private cloud release of AX7 is part of the roadmap, and it should be available end of Q3 or Q1 of 2017. The on-premise version is planned once the Azure stack is made available for on-premise deployments. So in AX 2012 and prior release, Morphex was the primary development environment with some developments happening in Visual Studio. Whereas in AX7, Visual Studio is the only development environment. And also now X++ compiles fully to CIL, which is very similar to other .NET languages. So AX7 now supports open web standards like OData, JSON, REST, which enables access to Dynamics AX data in a consistent way across a broad range of clients. Another new feature in AX7 are the task guides, which provide a guided interactive experience around business processes to users. Again, the servicing and support workflows have undergone significant change in AX7. So we will discuss more about the servicing and support workflows in greater detail later. And also in the slide you see in-memory models. So SSAS is no more supported in AX7. So this has been replaced by in-memory aggregate models in AX7. So moving further, this slide represents the conceptual architecture of AX7. Broadly, if you see, the platform components are separated from application. So you have the core platform components, the client, server, integration, and reporting. Then you have the application components, which are your which is your business functionality. You see that Visual Studio is your core developer experience is on Visual Studio. Then lifecycle services have been enhanced to further enable your ALM operations like provisioning, deployment, diagnostics and monitoring, configuration and support. Going further, next slide. So if you see in this slide, now the application stack is divided into 3 separate models. So you have the application stack divided into application platform, application foundation, and application suite. The application platform contains key platform components and runtime frameworks like data access, workflow, client, and reporting. The key business function foundation blocks like org model, global address book, source documents, etc. are part of the application foundation now. And the business process functionality is part of the application suite. So if you compare this to earlier versions of AX, you can correlate this to the sys layer, which has been now divided into 3 separate models. So now let's understand some new concepts in AX7. Let's start with packages. So in AX 2012 or earlier versions, we used to have customizations within the model or the model store. So we used to export a model or an XPO and import it in a new environment or a new instance. In AX7, package is a deployment concept. A package can contain one or more models. So whenever you want to promote your code from one instance to another instance, you create a package and you deploy these packages. The concept of model is a design time concept. So it remains same like in AX 2012. Your custom elements are grouped under a model, very much like the AX 2012. There's also a concept called projects. So a project is a concept within Visual Studio environment to group your elements. So the next important decision in your AX journey is about customizations. So in earlier versions of AX, we used the concepts of overlayering to customize metadata elements and code in upper layers. So typically you used to extend your standard metadata elements or code or classes or tables into upper layers. So you created a copy of code and customized it. So this concept is called as overlayering. So in AX7, this concept is still supported. However, the current version of AX has a new customization model called extensions. So extension is the recommended way to customize in AX7. So with these changes in layering and model structure, it helps in quicker compilations and deployments. So in the earlier slide, we briefly talked about OData and other web standards. So in AX earlier releases, you typically had SOAP-based services for integrating with AX. So whether it's a query service or a metadata service, it all is supported on the on SOAP-based services. So you have you had very minimal support in AX earlier releases for OData. With AX7, you have all your data entities available as OData services. Apart from that, you can use data import export framework, which has been further enhanced for AX7. For all your integration needs, mostly data import export framework is preferred for your asynchronous integrations. Today in AX7, we have about 1,500 plus data entities available. We also had AIF custom services in AX 2012. So they continue to be still supported in AX7. But in AX7, you can also have custom services as JSON. So what this means is, so you have a lot of support for open data standards, open web standards, and data formats. So it gives you a lot of choices for integrating with AX using these new open web standards. So reporting again has been further enhanced with integrations to Power BI. So now you can consume data entities within Power BI. SSRS still continues to be there, and also you can have rich visualization within AX client, like you can have active tiles within your workspaces. Another change you can see on this is AX also has support for secondary database where you can offload some of your read operations to improve performance on your production. So these were some of the new concepts within AX7 and the concept of the application platform, the application foundation and application suite. So now let's take a look at some of the deprecated features within AX7 and what are the alternates to these deprecated features. So first and foremost is the enterprise portal. So enterprise portal is no more supported in AX7. So if you have any existing investments in EP, you need to rethink about them. And since AX7, the entire application suite is available as a web client, so some of these can be leveraged to enable access to your EP users. The next is AIF services. We talked about that in the previous slide. So there is no support for SOAP-based services, and your AXT integrations are replaced by data entities in AX7. So you can leverage data entities against AXT. The support for X++ reports is again completely deprecated. And if you have any of your investments in these areas, so these are candidates for redevelopment or reimplementation when you are upgrading to AX7. The other deprecated features are the Morphex development environment, which has been replaced by Visual Studio. And if you have any customizations or ISV solutions which use ActiveX or managed controls like Gantt charts, etc., so these are not supported in AX7. So probably you need to redevelop this for AX7 in using HTML or JavaScript. So now we need to be aware of these deprecated features to define our strategy for AX7 implementation or an upgrade. So I briefly touched upon the support and servicing collaboration that is required. So here in this slide, uh, this slide gives more deeper insight into what happens as part of support and servicing workflow and how you go about collaborating with partner in Microsoft on this. Since AX7 is hosted on cloud, the core application monitoring is done by Microsoft. So Microsoft signs up to SLAs for the uptime of your instance. Environment provisioning and deployment is also done by Microsoft. Application package deployment, since you as a partner or customer will not have direct RDP access to your instance, so you have to collaborate with Microsoft to promote your code and hotfixes to the production instance. So this puts a dependence on Microsoft, and you have to collaborate through LCS for all of these. So there has been significant enhancements in LCS to enable these functions, mostly around monitoring and troubleshooting your instances. Then as a partner or a customer, there are some activities which you still need to do it proactively. You can still be part of application diagnostics and monitoring to monitor key statistics of your instance. So as a partner or customer, you'll still be responsible for application level support, whether it's L1, L2, L3 application support will still continue with you. When you're doing application packaging and deployment, although Microsoft promotes your code to production, but you need to still collaborate with Microsoft to get this, make this happen. You still manage your developer, test, and staging instances, but you still need to collaborate and support with Microsoft. So when you run into any production issues, whether it's application related or platform related, which needs to be escalated to Microsoft, so you need to participate and triage these issues with Microsoft, and you need to support through closure of these. So all these workflows are enabled now on LCS. So LCS, as I said earlier in my previous slide, is a primary collaboration workspace for partner, customer, and Microsoft in the AX7 world. So these are some key activities in AX7 where you need to closely work with Microsoft. So moving on to the next slide. It's more around the skill set which is required. So the primary skill set still remains to be X++. So you still continue your investments in X++. Although the rendering of the client is in a web browser, but your investments in X++ still continue to be there. So the next operational skill set that is required by your developers is Visual Studio. So many of the developers are accustomed to use Morphex for all their development needs in earlier versions of Dynamics AX. So in AX20, AX7, Visual Studio is your primary tool for all your development. Some other skill sets, secondary skill sets include LCS, because LCS is a primary platform for collaboration. Other skills like C#, JavaScript, HTML5, and OData will definitely help for troubleshooting or for debugging or for when you run into issues, or if you want to build any custom controls, these skills will definitely help. Next is Power BI, SSRS, and Cortana Analytics Suite. So there has been enhancements within the AX7 as a platform uh, to provide integrations with these platforms from Microsoft. So there are having these skills will definitely help to leverage new capabilities in these platforms. Although Microsoft LCS is your primary platform for provisioning, for scaling out, scaling up, and scaling down your instances, and you use LCS as a platform for collaborating with Microsoft. But having knowledge of Azure cloud infrastructure and services will definitely help. Although these are not primary skills, but these skills will definitely help. So going to the next slide, what are the key considerations which you should be aware of when you are planning your migration or an upgrade? So the first and foremost is the process changes vis-a-vis standard features in AX7. So in many cases, what happens, there have been new enhancements in AX7. So many of your customizations, you can do away with many of your customizations and leverage standard features of AX7. So there have been significant changes in terms of UI in AX7 vis-a-vis earlier versions. So this is another key consideration because you need to train the business users or enable them on these new changes. The next change is the application platform stack and changes to the metadata API and schema. So the platform stack changes will impact your your developer. So we talked about the different ways of customization. So when you're upgrading your code, we talked about overlaying and we talked about extensions. So the upgraded code will follow the concept of overlaying when you upgrade code from earlier versions to AX7. Whereas it's a choice you make, but the upgraded code is overlaid in AX7. But the recommended option in AX7 is to go with the extension approach. Again, deployment landscape is another big change which will impact your because you may have a lot of existing applications within your IT landscape, and Dynamics AX, your earlier version of Dynamics AX, could be integrating with these applications in your landscape. So as part of your strategy, deployment is one of the key elements which needs to be considered. The next thing is security. AX7 uses Active Directory on cloud. So you may need to replicate some of your AD users onto the cloud. The next is the data sanity and volumes. So data sanity and volumes is one of the key considerations because when you are moving from your either a legacy system or earlier version of Dynamics AX, many a times we have seen that the data in the source system is not correct. So this creates a lot of challenges when you are moving to AX7. The next is the data scope. So when you are migrating from earlier version to AX7, one of the key consideration is what setups and configurations you want to move, what master data you want to move from source system to AX7, and what kind of transactions you want to move. For example, there is a possibility that for statutory requirements, you may have to maintain data for a couple of years in your production, in your new system. So as part of the strategy, you need to consider this. How do you want to move your master data transactions, whether you want to take closed transactions or whether you want to move only the opening balances and any open transactions. The other key consideration is integrations. So there have been a lot of changes in AX7. So as I told earlier, you will not have direct access to the AX7 instance. So if you have any legacy integrations where you are using file folders or you're using other mechanisms to integrate with AX, so that might not be possible. You have to leverage OData services or DIF to integrate with AX7. The next key consideration is test scenarios. So your test scenarios needs to be revamped because of the new changes and new flows available within AX7. So you may have to update your test scenarios when you're moving from earlier versions of AX to AX7. Then again, you have to manage change and rollouts because there has been significant enhancements to the AX functionality itself. You have to manage change, and skill sets are another key consideration. So the availability of skill set within your organization or with your partner, the relevant skill sets are important for your AX7 journey. So when you're planning your upgrade or migration, so typically we come across the following scenarios. So we typically find AX 2000 customers on AX 2009 or earlier versions, or we find customers who are on AX 2012 R3 who wants to upgrade to AX7, or customers who went who are currently on the earlier release of CTP release of AX7, who are part of TAP programs and who want to migrate to the latest release of AX7. So these are typical scenarios we encounter with many of the customers we have today. So the strategy to upgrade from different versions could slightly vary. For example, when you're having AX 2009, AX, there is no direct upgrade path from AX 2009 to AX7. So the recommended upgrade path from Microsoft is to move to the latest release of AX 2012 R3 and from there migrate to AX7. So this is a two-step upgrade process if you are on AX 2009. If you are on AX 2012 R3 CU9, it's a direct upgrade to AX7. So it works more like a in-place upgrade because AX7 is built on the baseline version of AX 2012 R3 CU9. But we have partners who have tools which can help migrate from AX 2009 to AX7 as a single step. So they leverage the capabilities of converting your XPOs and translating your XPOs to the equivalent model files in AX7. Although there may be some refactoring required, but there are options available through a single step upgrade from 2009 to AX7. So moving to the next slide, so this is a typical upgrade workflow for upgrading from AX 2012 to AX7. So in AX 2012, you export the model and you upload the model stored through LCS and run the upgrade analysis tool. So what this does is it creates a Visual Studio project on the VSO Online. Then you analyze the code and it generates a report where you need to look through the conflicts and resolve these conflicts in a specific sequence. First, you need to resolve the conflicts at the platform layer, then the foundation and the application suite. Then finally, you test and deploy build your packages and you deploy these packages or promote these packages to production. So this is a typical workflow, and all of this is orchestrated through LCS today. So moving to the next slide. So when you move to AX7, so there are some additional capabilities you can leverage on cloud. There has been a lot of integrations which has been built with this new technology stacks where you can enable real-time analytics and predictive analytics through Cortana Analytics Suite. So if you want to build any advanced analytics based on Azure Machine Learning or so, you can leverage these components available on the Azure stack along with your AX to enable real-time analytics and predictive analytics. Apart from that, we have Power Apps. So with Power Apps, for example, if you have any key business processes in AX and you want to enable those key business processes on mobile devices, so you can leverage Power Apps. In earlier versions, we had companion apps for some of the key scenarios, but you can leverage Power Apps to enable any of your scenarios on mobile devices. The next other consideration when since AX7 is today completely on cloud, you can look at optimizing your utilization of your cloud infrastructure and costs. So this is key so that you can minimize your operational costs of usage of your instances itself. For example, if you are not a 24/7 business and you operate for example 8 or 10 hours, your business operates for 8 or 10 hours, what you can look at is you can switch on your instances for specific period and optimize your usage on the cloud of the cloud infrastructure. So recently in World Partner Conference, Microsoft announced about Dynamics 365. So Dynamics 365 as a platform combines the capabilities of Dynamics ERP and CRM along with other Azure products like Power BI, Cortana Analytics, and IoT Suite. So all of these are packaged as a cloud product on Azure. So Dynamics 365 enables enables and provides SaaS services with modern experiences for your key business processes. And it's again based on a common data model. With Dynamics 365, Microsoft is trying to reinvent productivity and trying to build systems of intelligence and transforming your and digitally transforming your business processes. So this is a new and all this is enabled at the back end. This is enabled with Dynamics AX as the ERP platform and Dynamics CRM also. So Microsoft is trying to build SaaS services around sales processes, field service, marketing, which are enabled by these cloud products behind the scene. So I have some links here for any further reading. So you can go through these links, and if you have any questions, you can drop me an email, and I'll be able to answer them. So that's all I had for today. I'm open for any questions you might have.
Thank you, Ajmal, and thanks for leaving your contact information on the screen. Please do enter any questions you have now in the Q&A block. You should see to the right of the main presentation window, and we do have a few ready to get into here. So first question, is it possible to upgrade from AX 2012 R2 to AX7?
Okay, so it's to upgrade from AX 2012 R2. The upgrade path would be to move first to AX 2012 R3, CU9 or above, and then to upgrade to AX7.
Okay. For the upgrade process you mentioned with the export of the model and then the upload of the model store, did you mean export of the model store or upload?
You need to export and upload on LCS.
Okay. Someone else wonders, does AX7 have all the functioning modules? I guess they mean in comparison to 2012 R3.
Yeah. So AX7 and AX 2012 R3 functionally they are more or less same. So although there are some features which are currently not available or they have been deprecated, but most of the functionality in AX7 2012 R3 is available on AX7.
Okay, someone who's on AX 2009 right now does not have any plan on migrating to 2012 and would rather move directly to AX7. Is this possible?
Yeah, so there are from Microsoft there is no direct path to my upgrade from 2009 directly to AX7, but there are some tools available through which you can do an upgrade from 2009 to AX7. But again, you need to evaluate because there are possibilities that there are some standard features which you can leverage out of box in AX7, which you might have customized in AX 2009. So it's a decision you need to make, and it's preferred that you have some kind of a discovery phase where you decide on what application elements or what customizations you want to do a technical upgrade and what you want to re-implement in AX7, leveraging the new capabilities in AX7.
Okay, our e-commerce website uses AIF services. What will AIF services be replaced with?
Okay, so AIF services have been replaced by OData. So you can use OData services now to integrate with AX. And if you have, if your e-commerce website uses asynchronous way to integrate with AX, you can leverage the data import export framework.
And sort of a related question, does AIF remain an option for integrations?
It's not a preferred option because there are a lot of deprecated features within AIF. So AIF today only custom services are supported, but OData will be the right choice or option going forward in AX7.
And a couple of people are asking about the time frame for the on-premise version of AX7.
Okay, I think there is no official time frame announced because it again depends on the availability of the Azure stack for on-premise release.
Okay, in terms of, someone's asking about compatibility of add-ons with AX7. What would be the best way to check on compatibility with any particular sort of third party solution that integrates with AX?
If the third party solution is on developed on AX itself, you can and you have the models available, you can use the upgrade analysis tool available in LCS, which analyzes the compatibility or upgrade readiness of your code. But if it is developed on non-AX platform, for example, if you have a .NET application and which integrates with AX, I think it's a manual work. I don't think there are any ready tools which can validate that.
Okay, I'm just looking through. I want to make a last call for questions here. I believe we are through the queue. And while I'm doing that, I just want to remind folks we do have a very brief survey that will pop up after the event. We really appreciate any feedback you can offer. Let's see, there was one more kind of follow-up on the question about the model store. Exporting of the model, is it the whole model store in one export, I assume is the question.
So, sorry, okay, for the upgrade process. Yes, so you need to export the model store.
Okay, great. Well, I think, let's see if we have anything else. Okay, great, yeah. So that will end the Q&A. If you do have any other questions, obviously feel free to reach out to Ajmal directly. And yeah, Ajmal, thanks so much for taking the time today and for presenting to our audience. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks. Thank you, everyone, for spending time on this session.
Okay, and with that, we will conclude today's event. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye.